In terms of transitional years in WWE, you could say that 2002 is the biggest and most important they've ever had. The Attitude Era was over, the company only had one world champion until it didn't, Raw and SmackDown got their own separate rosters, a whole bunch of young talent debuted, Hulk Hogan returned, and the company changed its name too. Did I miss anything? Probably, it was that kind of year. Oh wait, I did miss something. All the incredible matches that happened. Silly me. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are the 10 best WWE matches of 2002. Join us. Number 10, Eddie Guerrero vs Rob Van Dam on Raw. There were a fair few ladder matches on Raw in 02, with The Undertaker vs Jeff Hardy and TLC 4 standing out as exceptional, but this Intercontinental title bout between Latino Heat and the whole flippin' show just about edged them. Eddie had returned to WWE with a fire lit under him and quickly targeted the man who shared his finishing move, beating him for the IC strap at Backlash. This ladder match felt like Last Chance Saloon for RVD, and he threw everything he had at a very game Guerrero in this totally thrilling TV main event. Both men took some hellacious bumps both onto and off the ladders, throwing caution to the wind in their efforts to prove themselves worthy of the headline spot. At one point, a fan ran in and tried to shove Eddie off as he climbed the rungs, this unscripted moment only adding to the sense of drama and danger. Danger was certainly present at the finish, which had to be improvised after a ladder buckled under Van Dam's 5-star attempt. But hey, they got there. A lot worse for wear and no doubt feeling a sense of pride, but they got there. Number 9, Edge vs Curt Angle at Judgment Day. In 2002, it became apparent that Kurt Angle's hair was losing the battle against his own forehead. WWE could have just let the Olympian quietly go bald, but after realizing there was money to be made, they set up this hair versus hair match with Edge instead. At Judgment Day, the former members of Team ECK had their second pay-per-view match of the year. This was the rivalry that birthed the legendary "You Suck" chant, by the way, and whilst their showing at Backlash had been pretty damn decent, this was on a whole nother level. These guys had incredible chemistry and were natural foils for each other. Edge was the showing sports entertainer, while Angle was the pure wrestler, and both had a streak of mischief about them that meant you never knew what was coming next. After 15 minutes of glorious action, Edge countered an ankle lock and rolled up the gold medalist to score the 3. This sparked a great night-long story of Angle trying to escape his punishment, only for Edge to finally catch him, strap him to a barber's chair, and banish his Barnet once and for all. Number 8, Chris Benoit vs Kurt Angle at Unforgiven. Before they became unlikely partners, more on that later, Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle renewed their singles rivalry from the year before, which basically boiled down to them going, "I'm the best wrestler! No, I'm the best wrestler!" These two insanely talented grapplers went toe-to-toe at Unforgiven, which was a stacked old show featuring the first ever World Heavyweight Championship match on pay-per-view and a blockbuster main event of undisputed champion Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker. Did these two take this as an opportunity to have a night off? Well, what do you think? Angle and Benoit played a blinder, wasting no time in getting right to the heart of the matter, which is good because they only had 14 minutes to play with. Grapples were chained into more grapples, suplexes were countered with more suplexes, submissions were turned into different, equally as painful submissions. This was an absolute masterclass in how to present professional wrestling as a legitimate sporting contest. Benoit was able to use the ropes to pin his opponent and win the match, leaving the door open for future encounters. Oh, I guess we'll just have to sit through more great wrestling then, eh? What a shame. Number 7, Edge vs Eddie Guerrero on SmackDown. After switching from Raw to SmackDown, Eddie Guerrero went after one of the Blue brand's hottest young prospects. This feud yielded decent matches at SummerSlam and Unforgiven, but as enjoyable as they were, there was always the sense that the two men were capable of that much more. Blowing off their feud in a no disqualification match on the September 26, 2002 episode of SmackDown, Edge and Eddie showed exactly what they were capable of, and then some. It was already shaping up to be a hell of a wrestling match when the ladder got brought out, the ref got bumped, and all hell broke loose. From there, it was each man trying to outdo the other with a series of big moves and sick spots, the biggest and sickest of which may have been Guerrero's picture-perfect sunset flip powerbomb from the top of a ladder. There were 5 or 6 moments where it felt like the match could end, but the chaos only stopped when Edge hit a massive execution from way up there. Despite portraying the vicious villain, Eddie received a well-earned standing ovation for his performance after the fact. Number 6, The Undertaker vs The Rock vs Kurt Angle at Vengeance. The three 3 pay-per-view world title matches immediately following WrestleMania 18 were perhaps a tad disappointing. Mercifully, Vengeance, the 4th post-Mania supercard, put on a main event for the ages. The Undertaker was defending his WWE title against 2 very different opponents, The Rock and Curt Angle. This made for quite the styles clash between Taker's brawling, Angle's technicality, and Rocky's theatrics. From the moment the bell rang, this trio of legends hit the gas and never let up. Bodies were just flying all over the place as all 3 participants did their best to get the upper hand. The best sequence was when everybody used their Move Thief power-up to steal each other's finishers. Rock nailed Taker with a chokeslam, Angle used the rock bottom on Dwayne, and then Mean Mark drilled Curt with his own signature slam. It would be The Rock's own move that won in the match, as he pinned Angle with a rock bottom to become a record 7-time WWE champion. That might not seem like that much these days, but remember, Super Cena was still a long way off. Number 5, Brock Lesnar vs. The Undertaker at No Mercy. 2002 saw the debut of 4 men who would go on to define WWE in one way or another: John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, and Brock Lesnar. Whilst those first 3 names took a little while to make it to the top, the 4th wasted no time in making his presence felt. Following his rapid ascent to the WWE Championship, Lesnar's first feud was with The Undertaker. They had 2 pay-per-view meetings at O2, the second being here at No Mercy. Oh, and there's just one little detail I forgot to mention. It was inside Hell in a Cell. That's so fun to do, you should try it. In one of the bloodiest cell matches ever, the future Streak Breaker and the Streak Breakee left nothing in the tank, going all out in a battle that made use of every single inch of available real estate. Lesnar was bleeding, Taker was bleeding, hell, even Paul Heyman was bleeding, and he wasn't even inside the cage. This beautifully violent display was brought to an end when the champion reversed a tombstone attempt into an F5 before scaling the cell to celebrate with the championship, looking like an even scarier King Kong as he did so. Number 4, the Elimination Chamber at Survivor Series. Eric Bischoff had his second ever idea in 2002 when he came up with a brand new match type, part Hell in a Cell, part Royal Rumble, part War Games. Behold the Royal War in a Cell! Wait, that's not right. This was the Elimination Chamber, and it would make its debut at Survivor Series, with world champion Triple H defending against Booker T, Kane, Rob Van Dam, Chris Jericho, and Shawn Michaels. From the early going, the match proved how dangerous it could be when an errant frog splash from RVD accidentally crushed Triple H's throat. Cue the game soldiering through the rest of the match in a move so heroic it's amazing it didn't turn him babyface. Near death of a future executive to one side, the rest of the match was incredible. The 6 guinea pigs made great use of their environment, combining their usual movesets with the chamber to create awesome new visuals, and the audience got to go home happy when HBK pinned Trips to win the match and leave with the big gold belts. A hell of a debut for a gimmick match that is still around and thriving over 2 decades later. Number 3, Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit vs. Edge and Rey Mysterio at No Mercy. In a year of outstanding singles matches, the readers of the Wrestling Observer newsletter decided that the best bout of the entire year was a tag team affair. This was the final of a tournament to crown the first ever WWE Tag Team Champions, which would be exclusive to SmackDown. The finalists comprised 2/3 of the iconic SmackDown 6, Edge and Rey Mysterio on one side, Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit on the other. The other members of the 6 were Eddie and Chavo, just in case you'd forgotten. These 4 era-defining athletes proved to everyone why SmackDown was considered the wrestling show at the time. The athleticism on display here is enough to make a yoga teacher weep with envy as Rey and Edge flew around the ring like human darts, only to be brought crashing back down to earth by their more grounded foes. Angle and Benoit fought through their differences to score the historic win, becoming SmackDown's inaugural tag champs in what some people still refer to as the greatest tag team match in WWE history. I don't know about that personally, it's no Golden Truth versus the Shining Stars from Raw in 2016, but it is good enough, I guess. Number 2, Shawn Michaels vs. Triple H at SummerSlam. When Shawn Michaels clipped his back on a coffin during his match with The Undertaker at the 1998 Royal Rumble, it prematurely ended one of the greatest pro wrestling careers ever. For about 4 years. HBK made his unlikely return to the squared circle at SummerSlam to battle his real-life best bud / kayfabe worst enemy, Triple H. It was an unsanctioned fight, which meant that there were no rules except maybe wear jeans, and it turns out this was exactly the right way to wean Shawn back into a life between the ropes. Despite having spent almost half a decade away and filling his body with more illegal substances than a 19-year-old at a rave, Michaels hadn't lost a step. He chucked himself about everywhere, into the ropes, through tables, and even off a goddamn ladder like it was nothing at all. The game proved to be the perfect dance partner, working over Shawn's injured back before getting rolled up by the showstopper for the feel-good victory. If this match went poorly, then there is every chance Michaels might have never had his second WWE run. Luckily for us though, his future tag team partner God was smiling down on him on this day. Number 1, The Rock vs Hollywood Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 18. At the end of the day, wrestling is a form of theatre, and sometimes the best theatre happens when you put two magnetic performers on stage together and let them loose. This is exactly what happened when The Rock met Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 18, the Hulkster's first Mania appearance in almost a decade. The story of this match is woven into wrestling legend. Hogan was the heel, but the Toronto fans treated him like the second coming. Everything he did was met with resounding cheers at the expense of Rocky, who was booed despite being one of the most popular men in the world at the time. Just watching these two icons of their respective eras stand opposite from each other is enough to send shivers down the spine, but it helps that the match itself was really well plotted too. Sure, neither man hit any Canadian destroyers or anything, but it had a great back and forth feel and allowed them to play all the hits. Seriously, when Hogan starts hulking up, that is magic right there. Rock vs Hogan is the very essence of why professional wrestling is the sport of kings, and they barely had to break a sweat, brother.